going to help you, and also we'll share some. And after this class, I'm going to actually send the sample business plan. I've made it in a Word document. I'll send it to Kanna, and he probably will be able to share it with you all. So that's going to be a good guide for you guys how to create a business plan. So business plan, I wanted to start with this, the famous quote: if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail, right? So it is important that is you need to have a plan. Whether you think about it, anything in life, forget about real estate first of all. That the first in life, if you don't have a plan, it is very hard to get what you want to achieve in your life, whether you're in your personal life or a professional life and all that. And this is even more critical. Real estate is a serious business, and especially in this volatile market. So you need to have a plan to achieve that goal by end of the year. So the business plan is an important part of the business. If you have actually seen any successful real estate agents, they will be having a plan, right? I mean, those who are not having a plan, when you get up in the morning, you don't know what's next. So that is really not going to get you anywhere. Then you'll be doing one deal here, and then once it is finished, then you don't know what's next. So that is why business plan is an important piece of a business. And then you need to have that business plan. And if you don't have one, you should seriously consider. And then this today's session will help you to create one, right? And I'm hoping, and anybody wants to actually share, those who don't have a business plan, or or you are already having it or not having it, anything you wanted to share either in the chat box or Kana, in the meanwhile, can you also share I wanted to share my screen, please?
Yeah, definitely. I'll put that over to you. And when it comes to business plans, last month we circulated a business plan just for Home Life Future agents. So each and every individual should have a business plan here, and they should have added to it as well. And of course, remember, a business plan is never one single piece of document. It changes over time, and I'm sure we can incorporate that with the business plan Gopa is going to share with us today as well. And overall, like there's never going to be one business plan forever. It's going to get added on top of as we go.
That's right. Yeah. So, and I'm sure that, those who are actually in the business for at least 1 or 2 years, I'm hoping they will be having a business plan, proper business plan. And again, even if you don't have it, it is fine. But now it is time to actually make one, because it is really going to give you an ideas what you want to achieve and where you want to go. So that's what the business plan is. So I'll give you some backgrounds why business plan, then I can show you some samples about how the business plan, a real estate business plan, should look like, right? So what is a business plan? Business plan is basically going to assist you to become an effective and an efficient sales professional, right? I mean, if you don't have a plan when you get up in the morning, again, I'm telling this, like if you don't have a schedule, if you don't have a plan for the month, for the week, for the year, then you are not going to be more effective, because you don't know where it is. It's like a ship without the radar, right? I mean, your business plan is like a radar for the ship, because it knows that where is it actually going to head, and it is really going to help you to stay focused, and it's going to be more effective than efficient. And it's a self-appraisal as well. Like, I mean, when you look at the business plan, and if you know end of March what you have planned and how much you have achieved, if you have achieved 50% of what you have actually scheduled for, then you need to buckle up and focus for the rest of the 50%. On the other way around, you have only you have already achieved 120% of your already goal, then you can make it easy and focus, I mean, enjoy a little more free time and all that. So it's very important to have that business plan, because that's what it's going to help you to stay focused and motivated, right? And it's also increase your confidence and motivation. Like, I mean, increase your confidence. How is it going to increase your confidence? Like because if you have a plan, and when you evaluate on a regular basis, you know where you are actually standing, and it's also give the motivation. If you are not on track, it's going to actually give you the self appraisals, and then actually it's going to give you that motivation to work hard to get your target by end of the year. and it's it's a power of planning and the personal accountability. Like, I mean, it's a power of planning. The most important thing is the power of planning, and when you do that, and it is going to stay focused, and it's your personal accountability. When you evaluate on a monthly basis, you know when is this actually, there is some personal accountability. If you are not on track, it will help you to stay focused on that. Competition, it's definitely going to, because it's a very volatile market. There are a lot of because it's very hard, although there is a lot of activities happening in the real estate market, but it is very hard to get a transaction completely materialized, right? And I'm sure that you all would agree to that, because the multiple bidding is happening. You put 10-15 offers to one property, and it's maybe one or two is actually you're lucky to get it. So it's and it's a lot of work you're doing it, because you have to still go through all the paperwork, all the bidding process, all the offer presentations and all that. And if it is not, your deal is not going through, so it's very tough for you guys. So this business planning will help you to really stay focused, and the type of competition and sustainability is you're going to stay in the business, because you have a plan for this month, for this week, this month, this year, and for next year, right? I mean, so you have a plan, so that's going to help you to sustain in the business. It's a working document. Not that majority of the people also make this biggest mistake. They will have a business plan, right? I mean, they will actually pump up, and first week of the any new year, they will create a business plan and all that, and then they will put it in the shelf. That doesn't really help, because it's as good as not having a business plan if you're actually not treating this as a working document. When I say working document, that means this, you have to actively review that on a regular basis. The reason is that's what going to help you to understand what you have planned and how much you have achieved. And it's also going to help you to meet that target. Like, if you are actually below the targets, it will help you to stay focused and do that. And if you have already achieved the target, that is also a good thing. Then maybe you don't have to sweat. You can start filtering only a good leads, right? Instead of, if you have already, let's say by March, April, that you reviewed your target and you are targeted for end of the year, you have to make $200,000. You've already reached that, maybe 250, because it's very easy to make that kind of money these days. If you sell 3-4 good houses, you will easily make that kind of money. So you can actually then start focusing on, once you have already reached your target, then you can little relax and only focus on a very good leads, like valid leads, right? But at the same time, if you haven't reached your target, then you have to work hard. Then you have to start doing your, you need to change your strategies, whether it is door knocking, cold callings, or follow up and all those things. So that's why the business plan is a working document. If you make the business plan and put it in the shelf, it's not going to happen. It's as good as not having one, right? And a work versus self-discipline, because it's a self-discipline. It will help you to self-discipline, because you are actually going to, it will help you where you are, what you are achieving, how much you worked and all that. And when you see the actual business plan document, you will understand that how is it going to help you. And I will actually walk you through that in a bit. So answer, like, I mean, as I said, that you need to regularly review that, ideally, like at least once in a week, you need to do it. But, minimum monthly, quarterly, and yearly, you have to review that, because that's what it's going to keep you stay focused. In the beginning, I will encourage you to review that on a weekly basis, just to see that reflux the last week, how much you worked and what you have achieved. And then on a monthly basis, and then quarterly basis or yearly. Once you actually settle down, once you have a grip in the business, then you can little relax and do it on a monthly, quarterly, and yearly basis. And why are we actually reviewing that? Adjust it accordingly, right? If you have met the target, as I mentioned, you can relax, focus on the right leads, and then first continue to work with those people. If you haven't met that, then that's also going to actually give you work more, your change your strategy, and then work on getting more listings and the buying clients, right? So I'm going to pause for a minute and let me ask you all, how do you guys feel about it? Like, is it making sense?
Of course, it makes sense.
Okay. All right. So do you guys wanted to add anything? Those who having actually in a business plan, what do you, I mean, do you guys agree what we have discussed? It's actually, is that the way? I mean, of course, I'm not asking you to share your business plan, but those who are actually having a business plan, how do you guys actually feel that? Is it helpful? And the reason I'm asking that, those who have it, it is also giving a message to those who are not having it. I want them to understand the importance of the business plan. Anyone wants to share? Chat. Okay. All right. So the help you to understand what's going well and what's not going well. Like, I mean, and the reason I keep saying that about, you need to review that, you need to have the business plan. It is definitely going to help you, because if you have planned it, and then it is a self appraisal, right? If you're working in a corporation, if you think about it, when you're in a school, or in a high school or a college and all that, there is actually end of the year or end of the term, there is a test, and then your teacher is going to actually mark you and will help you to understand, you know how did you do that term, right? I mean, because that is, somebody is actually watching you and somebody is doing that. And same, like if you're working in a corporation, or if you're in any organization, there are leaders, there are actually your managers going to evaluate you and tell you that whether you're doing good or bad. The biggest problem with the real estate is there is nobody in there, right? I mean, it is, you are your own boss, so you need to know how you are doing it, what you need to do it, right? So how do you have that self discipline? So things like this, like a proper time management plan, proper business plan, these are the things going to actually keep you to stay focused, and it will keep you on track, whether you're doing what is going well or what is not doing well, right?
Yeah,
And what
I
Mhm.
definitely agree with that. Always self-reflecting from what you did in the past, putting new goals and how you're going to be achieving it. In this industry, remember, there's 55,000 realtors just within the Toronto Real Estate Board, right? There are a lot of us. What differentiates us from the others? How are we going to be different? What are we going to be doing different? That's something that every agent should be thinking on nearly every single day. What am I going to do differently today? What am I going to do differently this week? What am I going to do differently with my counterparts, my colleagues that are also in the industry? That gives us the motivation to do better. That gives us the motivation to get more knowledge and educate ourselves. And overall, comparing to what we did last year, how could we improve, right? So that aspect of always looking at the sources of business that you got last year compared to this year, and how you can improve that overall to achieve the goals that you want. So that self reflection, again, as you said, very important key.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what it's actually going to, because the thing is, nobody is there for you to evaluate. Like, I mean, you're your own boss, so that is even more critical, and it will make it even harder. You're not realizing that what it is. And even if you're making few deals and if you're getting money, you probably will be thinking you're really doing well. That's not all times it is true, because what happens once those in the business is done, you are actually got the commission and all that, then what's next, right? There should be always a business, or there should always a plan. It's in your pipeline, like, and that is only going to help you when you have a plan, when you have a schedule, when you know that what you're going to achieve from this real estate business, right?
Very, very true, very true. And you mentioned commission there, and I remember my our broker of record Salva saying to a couple of agents once, your first 3-4 commissions, the value of our commissions right now is much higher, but let's just say a few years ago, the first 3 commissions should not be spent on anything other than things that will increase your pipeline for the remaining year,
Yeah.
right? So just because we get the checks doesn't mean we go on a shopping spree. We spend it wisely to build a business, to promote our business, to market and solicit more clients. That's where the first couple of checks should go. Number one, you've worked hard enough to close a deal, to receive compensation for it. Now, what are you going to use how are you going to use those funds to propel your business and to build the pipeline? That's basically it. I've learned in the mortgage industry, it's not about closing a deal. it's about, you can have the most craziest, busiest day with 5 or 10 deals closing on that 1 week. The stress should not be about closing those deals. The stress should be, how am I going to make sure I'm doing this every other week, right? And if you focus on the future, focus on the pipeline, then business will be continuing to come in without having any pause in the industry. It's not about 1-2 deals and the commission you get. It's about how you're going to make sure you're getting that commission on a monthly basis. That's
absolutely.
It, right?
And it's actually, and I have seen that those who are actually coming new to the industry, they have the tendency, and especially because, as Karna mentioned, the commission checks are, if you sell a home and easily $1 million, you don't get anything less than $1 million, a decent home, right, or $1 million plus. So you're talking about $20,000-$25,000 commission here if you work on a 2.5 or whatever. So if when you get it, it's somebody who is actually starting a real estate, and if the first commission is that, for them, it's all reason for them to get pumped up, because it's a big check coming up, and then they can get, the focus can actually go on the other side if you don't really have a plan on that. So please don't get into that trap. It is very important, as Kanna rightly said, when you're doing one deal, and that's why I started with that opening statement, that is, when you're actually having any social gathering or where you're always prospecting, every communication is actually you're prospecting, you're trying to find out who's my next client. That's the thought you should have in your mind in any conversation, any action you have it. I mean, and then follow up on that, because and that's what the business plan will really help you to stay focused on that one. So that will also going to help you, what's going well and what's not going well. And that's what's not going well is really going to, you need to start action onto that, and it's help you to stay focused on that one. What should have a business plan? Like, I mean, of course, I will, as I mentioned, that I will show the actual business plan for a real estate agent. So in nutshell, what should your business plan should consist? Your annual recap. Annual recap is when you're actually, so beginning of the year, like, towards end of December, first week of January, every year is where you need to have your business plan ready. So when you're actually doing that, the annual recap is, let's say, by you made commission or okay, forget about, I mean, let me keep the commission one side. You have to start talking about your number of transaction, how many transactions you did. The annual recap should have the number of transaction, how many commission you earned, and what's your business expenses you have done it, right? At least minimum these 3 things should have it. There should be more details, and which I will actually, when you show the actual Word documents, I can show you that. But for you to have a business plan, at least start with something basic. Those who are not having anything, or somebody who is new, for them, I would recommend your annual recap should have how much commission you earned last year, how many transactions you did that, and how much money you spent on the business, right? And the balance amount is your net profit, right? Simple. So why is this number of transactions is important? Because that is going to determine, that is how much commission you earned. Like, maybe you have done only 1 transaction, you are lucky to get your first listing, which house cost is $7 million, right? I mean, obviously your commission is going to be pretty handsome. You're talking about $200,000 to $300,000, but that doesn't mean anything, because it's not necessary you're going to get that 7 million next year. So you don't want to be really high fly at that times, because so that's why the number of transaction is important. And then that's going to actually, you can find out that how much commission you made it, and then is that going to be sustainable for next year as well. As I mentioned, since the one deal got you so much of money, but is that sustainable? Are you going to get that kind of luxury home next year, right? I mean, so it is very important to have that, the annual recap, these 3 things minimum, right? And business sources for last year, and a percentage number of a percentage and the numbers, right? You have to understand, the business plan should know if each transactions, like you have to, when you're having the business plans, you need to know that whether this came from a referral, or is this came from my door knocking, or this came from this percentage, number of percentage came from. So what I'm trying to tell you is, your number of transactions, let's say by you sold 20 houses last year in 2021, and in that 2021 you look at that 20 houses, how many of them came through referrals? Like 5 houses. How many of them came from door knocking? 1. How many of them came through from your past customers? Like the rest of the 14. So what does it say? So your repeated customer is actually your main source of business, because that's where your maximum number of coming. That doesn't mean you stay focused only on your repeated customer, but you need to know your source of the business, which is very important. What is your source, right? I mean, for any business, as think about if you're starting a coffee shop or a food a restaurant or something. What are you going to do? Think about it first of all, right? I mean, if you're opening an Indian or an Asian restaurants and all that, you're going to open a place where more Asian communities live, right? Because it is important to understand the source of the business and where is it coming from. Otherwise, you're going to shoot in the dark and you don't know where the business is coming from. Sometimes you will overlook the people who are really giving you business, and then you're going to actually chase the people where you're not going to get the business. So it is important to stay focused and know what is the source of the business, and look at the percentage of the business. If you had 20 transaction, like let's say by 16 of them were your repeated customer, or 16 of them were maybe door knocking, then fantastic. Then your door knocking strategy is working for you. Continue to focus on that one, right? And your current year goal. So current year goal is, let's say by you in 2021, let's say by you sold 20 houses and you made commission of your $200,000, right? Just put the number. Ideally, every year you have to raise the bar, right? And based on your career, where you are in your career, whether it is your beginner or a partner, part-time, or actually your like, I mean, you're okay, your personal life, because that is, you need to decide that you have to raise the bar minimum 10 to 20%. You have to increase that goal from that previous year. That's where, because this business plan is what it's, as I mentioned, this is a working documents. After 5 years, 10 years, then that's where you will really see, because the value of the business plans, because you continue to increase your goal in 10 to 15, 20% every year, right? So it is your current year goal. If you made $200,000 last year, you have to, your 2022 goal should be 10% or 15% or 20% higher than what you did at the last year. You set the target on that. And then your business plan should have the total number of hours you will be working, because that is also important, right? Because how do you know, like, your number of hours, if you don't know how you set a target about $300,000, but then you are not going to actually work. So it is important to know how many hours. So it should be a realistic goal as well. So it should your total number of hours, like, think about it's a simple thing, like, you 52 weeks in a year. So 40 hours in a week is what the actual working hours, right? I mean, I'm talking about the corporate world, but we probably, because real estate agents are freelancers, kind of, your own, you probably will work 50 hours in a week. So multiply that, and then you look at the number of hours you will be working, and you also have to take into consideration your personal life, your vacations and all that. So it should be a realistic number, right? Your number of hours in a week you're going to do, let's say by 50 hours in a working week, so you 45 hours, right? Something like that. You need to actually, so based on your career, based on your, where you, what's your lifestyle and all that, you have to actually have that number on that, and the numbers required to achieve these goals, because that's why, you put a number. Now, is that really realistic with your goal? Like, you put $250,000 commission you wanted to earn. To make that $250,000, how many hours you're going to work, right? So for that, how many hours are you committed? Is that your lifestyle really agree to work for 50 hours or 45 hours or whatever the number of hours that, and the actions you're going to taken to achieve that goal? What are the actions? Like, as I said, when you know your 15% of the business is coming from door knocking, then the action is going to be, out of this 45 hours in a working week, you're going to spend 20 hours for door knocking, or 20 hours for prospecting, or 20 hours for whatever the source of your business. You, based on that, you allocate that time in the business plan, right? Is it making sense? Yeah. Anything on the chat box? Hello? Hello, Kanna?
Yep.
Okay, I thought, I mean, I lost you guys, so.
Oh, no.
Okay, yeah. So any comment on that you want to do? Anybody?
It's a great time for anyone to come out and speak out if you have any questions.
Yeah, just don't be shy, guys. There is nothing to lose. Like, I mean, it's
Sorry, I am new actually. So
Yeah.
how will there be any mentor whom you can share your plan and your achievement so you
Yeah.
get guidance?
Yeah, I will show you the business plan, how the business plan will look like. And what I'm going to do is I will send the Word document to Kanna, and then, it is pretty self-explanatory. As I mentioned, this is what I'm going to actually, and then I put it in such a way, you just have to fill in the blanks.
Okay.
Right. But and because and you should have that. The reason is I'm giving this background why you have to have that, the importance. You need to understand why is this business plan, how is it going to help you, and I will actually show you that, so you fill in the blanks. And so that's why the minimum. So you may be, when you're actually sitting with the Word document, you will be wondering, why am I writing the annual numbers, why am I writing here? So that's why I just wanted to give you the importance of that. So yeah, you will get the Word document from me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else have any other comments, question? I'm just looking at the chat box. All right, nothing. Okay. All right. Is those who are having the business plan, do you guys have these details, or is it something different? Anybody? Okay. All right. So again, as I mentioned, we must make a strong commitment to both business and the personal, growth at the rate, right? I mean, because you have to, when you're actually going to put the number of hours you're going to commit in a year, like as based on 52 weeks in a year, and 40 hours in a week, or maybe you put it at 50 hours or 60 hours. 40 hours is the working hours, not actually the actual number of hours. So you also have to see that, take that into consideration, your personal life. So that's why, if you're putting 20% growth every year from year to year, or is that really going to match with your lifestyle? So which only individual can really evaluate that. If you're a single parent or a working mother, or or somebody who's actually doing only part-time, then you need to actually adjust your business plans based on that. But whereas somebody is actually really only doing real estate full-timer, so yeah, then you have got the time. So you're going to spend the entire 50 hours in a week. Then you need to actually have that 20% or 15% growth every year to year. You need to have that. This will cause your income in double every 3 to 4 years. You think about that. You made $100,000. Your goal for 2022 is going to make 20% more than that. So like that, if you're going to increase your goal every year 15 to 20%, think about after 4 to 5 years. You're going to be in the $1 million club very soon, right? So that's why the business plan will really help you to stay focused and to evaluate that what you're doing. If I'm sure that we all have actually went to school or college or university, we all had a scorecard. What a scorecard is for? Scorecard is for to do the self-evaluation. How did you do, right? I mean, you did maths and 80%, whereas in science, and you did only 50%. So that where you need to focus and what you have to do it, and stiff then you continue to on that. That scorecard will really help you to stay focused. The same way, treat the business class as your own scorecard, right? And you should have actually a rough idea how you're doing it, because even if you're not actually don't remember the number of hours, and how is it going to have that rough idea about the business plan when you evaluate that on a regular basis, right? That's why I said that ideally, once you're actually starting that, you should evaluate on a weekly basis, but at least monthly, quarterly, and yearly, you need to evaluate that, so that fine, I committed to myself to work 50 hours, to get 10 transaction, to make 200,000 commission. Okay, all right. I am far behind from that. I'm only worked, 30 hours in a week. I got only 5 transactions, and my commission is only right now is $45,000. So we are already end of October. So you need to know that, and it will help you. So it is important to have that number as a rough ideas at any point in time, because you need to really have that, know that where you need to focus and what you need to do to achieve that. All right. And again, those who are actually starting new, review that on a weekly basis. Once you get the grip of the business, then you can change that into monthly and quarterly. But you should have, regardless where you are in your career, you should know how much you earned and what you are doing and where you are standing that, right? Have an accountability and a partner within your team or a family. So it is very important to do a partnership accountability partner, because it will help you to stay focused when you know that you haven't actually achieved that, whether it is your family member or a team member. It will help you to stay focused, because we spoke about the motivation, right? Motivation is what? Your motivation is two types of motivation: your intrinsic motivation and your extrinsic motivation. Your intrinsic motivation is what you want to achieve in your life. What are the things you wanted, right? Certain things you are naturally motivated, that you don't need anybody to actually tell you to do that. For example, I like to go to the gym in the morning. I don't need a reminder, I don't need an alarm, because that's something which I really enjoy it, right? So I go there. So that's my intrinsic motivation. The extrinsic motivation is when you see somebody is doing it and they are successful. Think of it in a street where you're living, and that street everybody is having a nice cars, or the lawn is nicely done, the driveway is neat and look. You obviously, if you're living there, you feel like following that, because we are human nature. The extrinsic motivation is very powerful. It will influence you, like what others are doing around you. So that is why the accountability partner is an important piece of a business, whether it's your family member or a team member. You need to be really careful who you are choosing. If you come to office, or if you talk to a real estate agents where they're always grouchy and always complaining, and not, this real estate business is crazy, we don't, too many competition, people are actually undercut. If you hear this day in and out, obviously it will affect you, right? And you think that, okay, yeah, the person who's saying the negative comments is always going to, affect you. So it is very important that is you pick your partner, or if you're doing that, kindly stop it. That's not that. If it is not working, exit. Go look for another thing. I don't think anybody stop you to be a real estate agent. So you need to actually, the easiest thing in life is to complain, right? But the right thing to do in life, take action. So it's important to that is you need to find the right accountability partner, and share the progress with them, help you to stay on track. You don't have to actually, because this is a very competitive market, even your own in the other salespersons, I don't expect you to share details with them, but at the same time, it will help you to stay focused when you find the accountability partner, and share them, where you are, how you're progressing, what you need to do, and all that. It will help you to a good tracking system is a good business plan, right? And be patient and realistic, because be patient, and when I say realistic means, be patient is because it's not going to, if your plan was last year to make this much of money, and if you didn't make it this year, don't get disheartened. What you need to know that what you didn't do to achieve that goal, right? That's what you have to be really patient, and start tweaking that your business plan based on that. And it has to be realistic, because you don't want to set, if you're starting the business, you don't want to set a goal thinking that I'm going to make $500,000 by end of the year. That's not realistic, right? You cannot, as I mentioned, if you're actually lucky to get 1 or 2 luxury homes, you probably will make it in today's market. But is that going to be realistic? Is it going to be always like that? So you have to be, when you're making a business plan, when you're setting a goal for yourself, it should be realistic. Where you're in a career, how much time you're going to spend, how much how much effort you're going to do it. Are you well established? Are you still beginning in the career? So you need to do the self evaluations, and based on that, you set your target. Yeah. And again, it is basically the business plan, as I said, that 20% increase per year. it's going to multiply over a period of time, 5-year, 10-year period of times. You think about it, you're not going to actually plan doing real estate 1 or 2 years. This is your career. This is where you're going to do. I mean, it's for the next 5-10 years. Last few years has been excellent for all real estate agents. Like, I mean, markets has been really nice. Like, buyers have made money, the sellers made money. They're all actually, I mean, buyers didn't make money. Buyers made money in terms of actually their equity went up. You buy a house today for $1 million. By the time you close, within that 2 months period, it's went to 1.3, right? So we have seen cases like that. In that way, buyers made money, sellers also made money, and all those things. Investors made money. So great. Like, I mean, good market it is right now. So you need to be realistic. Is that going to be sustainable? Is it going to stay like this forever? But that should not change your strategy. What you need to be a professional is, you're going to be in this profession. You have to make money no matter when the volatility stays there like this or not, right? So that's why your goal should be realistic. You need to actually have that 20%, 15% transactions. So today's 50 transactions, since tomorrow, after 5 years, 3 years will be 100 plus transactions, and you will be on a well-established real estate agents, no matter what kind of market you are actually going through. So you need to spend some time and what you want in your business. Your plan should talk about what you want to achieve, right? I mean, again, if you're basically, as I said, that the working document, it's going to tell you that is by end of the year, you are going to make $200,000, then it should have a plan. The business plan should explain how you're going to achieve that. And we mentioned about, sharing progress with the partner and help you to stay focused. And your business plans need to be an open and easily accessible, right? It should be accessible for you. It's not that you made the business plan and then you shelved it somewhere and you don't even know. So that's not going to actually help you. It's as good as not having it. So that's not what you should be doing it. It should be easily accessible to review that on a weekly, monthly basis. And that's what it's going to help you to stay focused on that, right? And tracking numbers is, again, remember, tracking numbers correctly is the foundation of a very good business plans, because you know that you are committed yourself to do 10 transactions by end of the year. So you are only got 5 transactions and we are end of July. So you got 5 more months to complete the year. So are you really going to what are you going to do it? So tracking numbers is a good way of having the good business plan, right? Work every day to remove all the obstacles, which is, no brainer. We know that, if you're not able to start on time, or if you're not able to having enough time to follow up or something, so you need to actually start working on that to remove those obstacles. Because the easiest thing in life, as I mentioned, is complain and come with excuses. So that's not going to actually help you. So it's not going to achieve anything. You have to understand your strength and opportunities, because that is what going to help you to make a realistic business plan. If you know your strength is actually you have established, you have got good connections, your center of influence, your networking is pretty strong. So obviously you know that what your business plan should like. Whereas where you are actually beginning of the career, you haven't done a deal, and your opportunities are actually to improve that, to increase those networks, and that's what you need to actually start working on that one, right? So that is where basically you have to know, how do I generate qualified leads, right? I mean, that is one should know. That is what your strength and opportunities. If somebody is actually good in having that network, yeah, you work on that one. So if somebody who's not having that qualified leads, that's your opportunities, and start working on that one. Practice, practice, practice. Tracking will make sense, right? I mean, once you actually look at your business plans on a weekly, monthly, regular, quarterly basis, so it will make sense. Okay, fine. Why, when I'm tracking these numbers, it's making sense, right? Again, what are the things you don't? Numbers don't lie, right? I mean, don't complicate the process. Make it very simple. And the Word documents, which is actually, as I mentioned earlier, it is just going to punch in the numbers. So it's not going to, don't make it complicated. Basically, it should have hours prospected, your number of contacts, right? Your presentations means offer presentations, how many offer and the buyer presentations you have done, it listing taken, listing sold, and these are the things which is people who have, it is not meant for only people who actually started the career. It is also, even if you're a well-established person, you should have a plan, because otherwise, as I mentioned, like, it is, you can little relax the number of hours and all that, but still that doesn't mean you're established. You don't need the real business plans. That's not going to actually really help you, right? Tracking can help you. Again, as I mentioned, you need to understand the source of your business, who's referring the business and how much it's worth it. Like, if somebody who's actually giving a lead, they keep giving references, they keep giving leads, but the mortgage is horrible, this person cannot actually buy a house, they don't have a job, it doesn't mean anything, right? So it is as good as not having that lead from those people. So you need to know what kind of referrals are coming from where, and is that really a qualified, really a worth lead coming from, right? Because lead, anybody can actually say that, okay, go chase that. So you have to qualify that lead. Is it worth spending that amount of time with those people? What are the two ways of increasing your efficiency? Increase the amount of numbers you do daily and increase the quality of the contact, right? Quality of the contact, not when I'm talking about, are they really serious buyers or sellers or investors? Not just, as I mentioned, you're getting a lot of leads, but they cannot, right? They cannot go to get a mortgage, they don't have a job, so it doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying that don't be nice with them, but you have to understand, for your business, is those qualified contacts. You need to actually increase the qualified contacts on a regular basis. Before I show the Word document, just the wrap-up points. Understand the importance of having a business plan. We spoke about it. What is the business plan? How is it going to help you? And why is it important, right? So you have to have a business plan. Otherwise, again, you're shooting in the dark. You don't know what you're doing and how much you achieved by end of the year. You're not going, it will be really hard for you to really evaluate and to know that where you need to focus and where you have to do better, right? And try and do it. Those who are not having a business plans, guys, these Word documents is going to actually very simple, straightforward. Punch in the numbers. By end of next week, try to make one, and we will talk about next week. We'll pick up this topic again to, if you have any questions while you are doing that, we can talk about next week about that. But take time to make this business plan and update it accordingly. As I said, that when you are actually evaluating on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly basis, you need to update that accordingly, because if you have already achieved your target at this much, and then, okay, fine, then instead of working, you committed to work 50 hours in a week, let's relax for 40 hours, right? So you can accordingly do that. On vice versa, if you haven't met that, then you increase the number of, and understand your number and keep a track of that. Before I go and show the other one and business plan, any question, guys? Let me check the chat box. Please send that. Okay. All right. Anybody wants to add anything? Okay. Let me show you this one. So this is the sample business plan. I am going to send it to Kanna. Kanna, you gave me the email. I just made a note of that. rkru23@gmail.com. All right. I will.
What we'll do is we'll actually send this to all of our agents.
Okay.
Who's on the call, and also at our brokerage, so everyone has. Someone mentioned they wanted the slides. Everyone, don't worry about sending me your email addresses. Gopa, don't worry about that as well. We'll do a massive email blast to all of our agents there.
Perfect. So basically, what is this? Your business plan is, you need to have the weekly plan, right? And the annual business plan. Actually, this page is actually second. So weekly, monthly, annually, right? And what are the major challenges and solutions? And that's what, and what are the obstacles you're going to actually find out, what are the solutions to each challenges? Because identify a problem is good, but what are you going to do it, right? I mean, let's say by if it is timing or if you don't have any good leads. So you have to find out, what are the solutions for each challenges. And this is what is the tracking method. Like, I mean, your month-to-month tracking form, basically number of days you worked, you had committed 50 hours in a week. Did you really work in January 4 weeks? 40 multiplied by 4, see that did you really work. So track the numbers, because it will help you to evaluate that. I know it's like a little daunting task, but guys, this will really going to help you. This is really just getting used to it. Once you are into it, just punching the numbers. It's only the beginning is a little tough, A, to get into that habits, B, to track the numbers and all that. Once you are into it, then you are just updating the numbers, so it's not that tough. Hours prospected, contacts, number of leads, as I mentioned, what are the things you're going to track? All these things I have listed here. And your expenses and listing expired and gross income, price reductions, if you have done it, you can sorry guys, you can delete some of the things if you feel that's not relevant. Maybe price reductions, it's not like a major one. This is somebody who is really established, really strategic, really doing well, and those people, they do this kind of very in-depth business plan. If you're actually somebody who is actually new, you can filter some of them which is relevant to you, and it's all based on your personal lifestyle. Like whether you're a full-timer, part-timer, or you're just beginning, you can actually make it. But at least the 3 things what I mentioned, you need to have that. How much you earned last year, what is your goal for this year, how many hours you're going to work, and what's your total expenses, and what's your total income, right? So what are you going to do in this? As I said, that this is very easy. I have put that in a weekly plan. You put your name, week of this one, number of days you're going to work. Your goal is 50 hours. End of the week, on a Friday or Sunday night, you found out you only worked 35 hours, right? So there it's right. Immediately it is saying that, okay, you need to work more, right? And number of hours you prospected. You said you're going to prospect at least 2 hours in a day. That is, in a week, you're going to actually minimum 10 hours in a week you're going to prospect. That was your goal. But you looked at that, you only worked 5 hours for prospecting. So that's where, again, this is also some of them, it is little detailed business plan, which I purposefully did it. Not necessary that is you have to fill in all these ones. You pick and choose what is most relevant for you, and then that will really going to help you. The goal is you need to have a business plan, right? Whether you are actually beginner, or you're in the mid-career level, or you're actually advanced level. So I'll go ahead and send this, and this will also go into actually, total income last year and the current year. What is that? Total transaction, total business expenses, and all that. This is all will help you, and when you really look at the end of the year, this is again, just like a scorecard, right? I mean, your end of the year, you sit with your leader or sit with your teacher, and they know that, okay, scorecard, how much you math you made, this much, science you made. So same way, all these things by end of the year, you can do that. And things I have to accomplish this year, these are your wild goals. What are you going to do it? Like, you're going to achieve something, whether it is personal and a professional. You can do things like, I'm going to certifications and all those things. You can put those. And this is the monthly, and this is the major challenges and solutions. You can fill in the details here. This is the tracking numbers. I will go ahead and send this to, Kanna gave me the email ID. I will send this Word document to all of you. Take a look at that, spend some time. It will make sense. Initially, it is not going to, I know, and it's a very daunting task, as I mentioned, because it's a lot of effort, right? And think about, guys, like, you cannot take real estate very lightly. When you're making commission around $70,000 from transactions, this business is very serious. So you have to spend some time. You have to actually, commit yourself to earn that. That's the mistake people generally make it. They think that, okay, commission is great, but then what is the effort from you? Zero, right? It doesn't work in that way. So you have to spend some time and, take this business seriously, and then you will see the result coming up. Yeah. Any closing comments, Kanna? Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then one individual, Delano, I believe you had your hand up.
Yes, sure. Just a quick question, sir. When we are making the business plan, is it also advisable to record the obstacles we face, or sometimes what distracts us from completing it, just to kind of avoid those same pitfalls in the future? Maybe you could.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I mean, you have to, like, I mean, this is where I mentioned that, right? I mean, you think about this, you know, what are the challenges of the problem that you face achieving goals you have set? You set a goal about making, you know, 100,000 and working on that, but what are the challenges you faced? So that will, and then that will answer yourself, okay, I did not work this many hours, or I did not do door knocking, I did not. So that you said that. So basically, you are answering to your own challenges. It's going to be more powerful because the major challenges and solutions will help you to answer those ones.
Yeah, just to add on top, I think focusing on our challenges and the solutions for it is a very key aspect of building itself and allocating a specific measure for the next year, or for the next time you come across certain obstacles, right? So yes, self-reflection of all the issues you go through, how you overcame it, how you'll be handling it in the next years or months is very important. And of course, remember, every obstacle that we go through does not have only one solution. There may be different type of solutions. So I think there's always a learning path, regardless of if we hit that obstacle once, and if we come across it again, right? Thank you, Brianna. I appreciate that.
Yep. So thank you all. Kanna, I'm sorry. I mean, I have a hard press. So, I'm going to actually wind up, but I will go ahead and send you this document. And folks, please spend some time in reflect what we had actually discussed today. Understand the importance of having this business plan, right? I mean, it's a serious business, so you need to really have that plan in place. And we will pick up this topic if required to discuss once you actually start making it. And if there is any question, happy to discuss that in our next session.
Definitely. Thank you again, Gopa. Appreciate it. Once you send over the documents to all the participants here, we'll be sent out to all of our agents, and not just that those who joined the group session today, but overall every single agent at our brokerage. So we'll make sure to send that out to Mala. Again, thank you for all your questions.
Thank you.
And Delano again. So what we want to see in the future seminars is, come out, speak all you can, ask all questions you can, and try to build self-confidence, and also figure out any answers to the unknowns that you have, right? Spring market, summer market is upon us. This is the best time to make sure we are ready for it. With that in mind, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We're going to be closing this off a little early for this session. And next time we'll have more of an information session as well, after Gopa's session is done.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you all. Have a good weekend. Bye.
என்ற இணையதளத்துக்கு சென்று ARASA Ride Sharing Company ARASA.ca என்ற இணையதளத்துக்கு சென்று The ARASA Drivers ஆப்பினை டவுன்லோட் செய்து டிரைவர்ஸாக வேலை வாய்ப்பை பெறுங்கள். மாதாந்தம் $4000 வரை சம்பாதியுங்கள். வணிக நிறுவனங்கள் ARASA இணையதளத்தின் மூலம் மளிகைப் பொருட்கள் மற்றும் உணவுப் பொருட்களை விற்பதோடு வாடிக்கையாளர்களுக்கு டெலிவரி செய்யலாம். தமிழில் தகவல்களை அறியாளையுங்கள். GTA பற்றி 40 ஆண்டுகள் அறிந்து கொண்டவரும் வீடு விற்பனை துறை ஊடாக மக்களால் அறியப்பட்டவருமான சிவா பிள்ளை 416-854-0005. Taxi broker licensed by City of Toronto. ARASA Ride Sharing Company ARASA.ca என்ற இணையதளத்துக்கு சென்று The ARASA Drivers ஆப்பினை டவுன்லோட் செய்து டிரைவர்ஸாக வேலை வாய்ப்பை பெறுங்கள். மாதாந்தம் $4000 வரை சம்பாதியுங்கள். வணிக நிறுவனங்கள் ARASA இணையதளத்தின் மூலம் மளிகைப் பொருட்கள் மற்றும் உணவுப் பொருட்களை விற்பதோடு வாடிக்கையாளர்களுக்கு டெலிவரி செய்யலாம். தமிழில் தகவல்களை அறியாளையுங்கள். GTA பற்றி 40 ஆண்டுகள் அறிந்து கொண்டவரும் வீடு விற்பனை துறை ஊடாக மக்களால் அறியப்பட்டவருமான சிவா பிள்ளை 416-854-0005. Taxi broker licensed by City of Toronto.